It's about to get diplomatic. What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to be talking about the Game Awards 2023. It was a few days ago, but I wanted to kind of like do it in my own way and have a full little recap because I did watch it live and I kind of wanted to give my thoughts and how I feel and whatnot. I'm not exactly going to talk about everything, but I'm just going to be talking about some things like the trailers that I saw, the games that I'm hyped for going into 2024. Just a bunch of different things to do with the Game Awards. And yeah, first and foremost, let's talk about the Game of the Year. So Game of the Year was Baldur's Gate 3. Now, the other nominees were Alan Wake 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now, Baldur's Gate 3 won it by a landslide. I'm not, disputing that it was probably a great game. I'm not a big Baldur's Gate fan. So for anybody who's a Baldur's Gate, who's a big fan of Baldur's Gate, please let me know in the comment section of how you really feel about the game and stuff. Because it seems like throughout the whole of the throughout the whole of the show, I had a feeling that it might take it, because especially they even showed a trailer in the actual Game Awards of the game, and no critic gave it a bad score. It was a 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, and I was just like, wow, really? So yeah, this is just something I was kind of like, oh boy, yeah, I can see this winning it. Another game that I probably thought that could have won maybe could have been Alan Wake 2. Definitely felt like Marvel Spider-Man 2 could have won. Super Mario Bros. Wonder and Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom all could have won. I think this list is a pretty solid list, so any one of these games could have taken it. When it comes to Resident Evil 4, now I love Resident Evil 4. I'm a big fan of the Resident Evil series. I do love the remake that they've done. I haven't actually played it yet myself, and I will be playing that sometime next year. I just feel that when it comes to remakes, it should have its own category, because I know they've made it into a game where it's a completely different game than when it was when it came out back in 2005. But I just felt like that this is a remake. So when it comes to remakes, the story is pretty much going to be the same. And I understand the gameplay and everything's going to be different because of the time it came out. But I just feel like when it comes to remakes, let it have its own category rather than putting it up with other games that have freshly came out this year, because there are two games on the list that I feel like that were not spoken about, and that is Star Wars Jedi Survivor and Hogwarts Legacy. So, and me personally, I would have loved to see one of those two games up for Game of the Year. Now, I understand with Hogwarts Legacy, the reason why it probably didn't get picked for any nomination or anything during the Game Awards, because I was quite surprised about that, is because of the whole situation with J.K. Rowling. Guys, if you want to look into that situation, if you don't know about it already, just do your research on that, because I'm telling you, like, for me personally, when it comes down to it anyway, the game had no ties to J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series anyway, or to herself. So despite what she said about a certain demographic, the game doesn't tie to her. So I think it's kind of unfair for the developers of that game. They didn't get nominated for anything. People talk about Spider-Man. Oh, Spider-Man got 7 nominations, but nothing to show for it. It's like, well, they got nominated. Hogwarts Legacy didn't get nominated. Star Wars didn't get nominated for one thing, but I felt like Star Wars was still a Game of the Year category kind of game. So if I had to replace Resident Evil 4, I probably would have replaced it with Star Wars Jedi Survivor and obviously Hogwarts Legacy. And speaking of Star Wars Jedi Survivor, that was a great game. If you guys haven't seen my review to that as well, I'll leave the link down in the description box below as well. But that game was great as well. I gave it 8.5 out of 10. It was definitely worthy to be a Game of the Year type of game. Due to like things like Tears of the Kingdom and Super Mario Bros. Wonder, I understand why. Those two other games there. Alan Wake 2, I didn't think Alan Wake 2 would get a Game of the Year, a nomination, because it just came out. But I was kind of like, okay, cool, I'm here for it, and this is someone who's a big Alan Wake fan myself, so I respect it a lot, I'm definitely down for it. Baldur's Gate 3, hey, well deserved. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh no, it should have went to Spider-Man 2. My personal Game of the Year is Marvel Spider-Man 2. I feel like it should have went to that, but it didn't. It went to Baldur's Gate 3, and you can tell by the critics and whatever. People can say what they want about Baldur's Gate 3, but if you haven't played the game, guys, there's no point putting your 2 cents into that game saying, oh no, it's not worth it, when really and truly you haven't even played it. I haven't played it, and I'm not knocking it. You know, for the people that enjoyed Baldur's Gate 3 and you got the win this year, I understand why. And also, guys, take these things with a pinch of salt, because again, your game of the year is your personal thing. It's not to do with a list. It's not to do with the Game Awards. Your game of the year could have been in any game that's not on this list. So that's just what it is, you know? And that's just how I feel about it. But yeah, guys, I didn't want to spend too much time talking just about the Game Awards and the nominees and stuff. I want to actually get into some of the things I saw, the trailers and everything, the games that I'm really hyped for. So let's get into that. So the 2 games I'm actually hyped for and that I can't wait for them to come out is Dragon Ball Sparking Zero and Marvel Blade, which is coming out by Bethesda Studios. So this is going to be an interesting too, because I definitely feel like Blade deserved the game at some point in our lifetime, because I feel like we haven't gotten a movie yet, so why not a video game? And they could, and a lot of studios could have pulled this off back in the day, but they didn't. So now when I look at it, I'm just like, yeah, you know, it is being made by Bethesda, and I was thinking, okay, but let's just give it a chance though. But it definitely does look interesting and enjoyable. I definitely felt like if it was to go to a studio, it could have went to a Capcom, because look what they did with Devil May Cry, for example. So it could have went there. But hey, let's just see what Bethesda does. It does look interesting. The trailer was really good. And you know, once I saw the fangs, the actual the gun, the jacket, I was like, yeah, this is definitely a Blade game. And I think it's been long overdue. We have not heard anything to do with Blade for a while. And even the movie hasn't even come out yet. Hey, that's another topic for another day. But yeah, we haven't had anything Blade related at all for a long while in terms of a video game. So let's see what they do with this, and hopefully it'll be a good one in the future. They haven't really said a date yet, because again, it's just a trailer, just teaser trailer, obviously. But yeah, hopefully soon they'll be able to show us a bit more about, in terms of gameplay, what we can do and how the story's gonna unfold, basically. The next game that we saw a trailer for that has been long overdue was Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. So they're basically continuing the Budokai Tenkaichi series. If you guys were around in the early 2000s or the 2000s in general, you know Budokai Tenkaichi was a phenomenal fighting game, all the way from Budokai Tenkaichi 1 all the way up to 3. This has been something that's been long overdue, and we haven't seen a good Dragon Ball Z fighting game for a while. You know, the last good Dragon Ball Z fighting games I remember was Raging Blast 1 and 2. There was fighters. I did enjoy a little bit of fighters, don't get me wrong, but it just didn't feel the same. It kind of felt like a Marvel vs. Capcom type of film, whereas Raging Blast 1 and 2 was like reminiscent of Budokai Tenkaichi, but it wasn't exactly that. It was its own entity. So now we get to see it come back. And I can't lie, the trailer for it was really good. You know, a lot of people were saying like, oh, why are people getting hyped about a Dragon Ball Z fighting game when, you know, like it's going to be the same kind of thing and whatnot. And well, if you see how it is now compared to how it came out in the 2000s, it's going to be different. Of course, you're going to be fighting, kicking people through rocks and mountains and all these types of things, right? But it's going to be a lot different compared to when it came out in the 2000s. I feel like there's going to be more capabilities and more gameplay features that we can do now than we could do in the 2000s. So it's going to be very interesting. And also, it is a fighting game. We haven't seen, like I said before, guys, we haven't seen a good Dragon Ball Z fighting game for a while. So I'm looking forward to this, and I'm sure a bunch of other people who are Dragon Ball Z fans or Dragon Ball fans in general are looking forward to this. And they said they're going beyond, obviously, the normal characters. They're going to bring characters in from GT, from Super, Z, Dragon Ball. Like, they've gone all across the board. And now I think that's definitely going to rake in a lot of fans and definitely going to make us play this game. And I can't say I'm hyped for it. I'm actually hyped for it. I know it's Dragon Ball Z, but hey, who doesn't like Dragon Ball Z? What? There's people out there that don't, but hey, I love Dragon Ball Z. I'm here for it. So the 3 games I'm looking forward to in 2024 is going to be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and The Rise of the Ronin. So those 3 games here, I have been waiting for them for a minute. especially since all of them got pretty much teased and whatnot. I think the most hyped game I'm actually waiting for right now is probably Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. You know, I recently finished Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I just actually can't wait to play Rebirth and what the story entails and what's going on going forward. And I actually like the fact throughout the Game Awards they actually showcased the orchestra and the music, whilst we got a little bit of like some gameplay in the trailer and stuff. So I was like, okay, cool. I was cool with that. So I think Final Fantasy definitely has been a anticipated one for me, especially going into 2024. There will be a playthrough on that for sure. I can see myself doing a playthrough on Rise of the Ronin, and then I think for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, I'm gonna do like a review on that rather than their playthrough. Reason why is just because I don't like to cluster myself with just playthrough after playthrough after playthrough. I do like to have a little break between the two, plus I have other content on the channel as well, so I don't want to just cluster myself with just like part one of this, part one of that, and then it's just you know. And don't get me wrong, I love doing playthroughs, but it's just, again, I'd rather just do one game what I actually do as a review, and I think that is going to be Suicide Squad for sure. So I definitely can't wait to see what actually happens and going forward with these games, because the stories seem really good. Rise of the Ronin is completely new. It reminds me of Ghost of Tsushima, but at the same time, it's still its own. It's still in its own entity. It's just, I think what makes it similar is probably because of the setting and how they fight and whatnot. But again, I want to see what the story entails. Same with the Suicide Squad. I'm also a big DC fan, more of a Marvel fan, but I still like DC. So seeing, you know, we get to play as the Suicide Squad, that story should be interesting. And I know a lot of people are saying, you know, they're really hanging on the game, saying that the gameplay looks bad, or they're showcasing way worse, or what, I don't know. But me personally, I'm here for it. I can't wait till it comes out. And then of course, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, man, guys, honestly, when it comes to Final Fantasy, I wouldn't say like I've played every single one, but I am I'm a fan of it for sure. You know, I think Final Fantasy X being my favorite. Second to that would be 7, and of course, second to that would be Crisis Core, actually, because I played that back in 2010, and then third to that would be Final Fantasy 7. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, and I want to see what entails for that, because the story is, because if you guys have played Crisis Core and Final Fantasy 7, you know there's actual endings, but now they're giving it a rebirth, kind of like a part 2. It's like, okay, so what direction are they gonna go in? What characters are gonna develop really well? Who's gonna end up dying? Because sometimes there's always people that end up dying in these type of games. So, you know, a lot of people have been talking about it could be Tifa, it could be Aerith. Who knows? Who knows at this point? But yeah, guys, that's just my little recap on the Game Awards. And like I said before, guys, again, take everything with a pinch of salt. If there were some games that were not nominated that you thought that should have been nominated for any list throughout the Game Awards, just let me know in the comment section and let me know how you felt. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share, comment, and subscribe. Also hit the notification button so when I post my next video, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.